That movie was depressing as all hell. Legends of the Fall, released in 1994 and is directed by Edward Zwick, who's also behind such films like Glory, Leaving Normal, The Siege, The Last Samurai, and Blood Diamond. And this film is starring Brad Pitt, Anthony Hopkins, Aidan Quinn, Julia Ormond, and Henry Thomas. Colonel William Ludlow has left the army and has opened up a cattle ranch in a remote part in Montana. And he has been tasked with raising his 3 boys all by himself after his wife left him, and they grow up to be 3 dashing and beautiful young men. The most rugged out of the 3 is Tristan, who embraces the Native Americans who have followed them to this ranch, and their culture and their practices. One day, the youngest brother out of the 3 brings home his fiancée Susanna, where you can definitely tell Susanna is taking a great liking to Tristan, and kinda wishes that Samuel will go away so that she can jump Tristan's bones. Thankfully for her, the 3 boys go off to fight in World War I, where a major tragedy happens to one of the 3 boys, and we begin our long descent of depression with Tristan thinking that everyone who he loves and comes in contact with ends up dying. I remember watching the first half of this film in high school, and I believe we were studying World War I, which is why we were watching it, and it was before all of the, the sex scenes, and it's high school. You can't show naked bodies, you can't show sex in school, otherwise the parents are gonna think, oh, that's controversial, and I don't want my kids seeing nude bodies on screen, even though it is Brad Pitt and Julia Ormond, who are 2 beautiful people. I don't care. We can't show naked bodies in high school. We just can't. These are things that were actually said by parents in my high school to my teachers, and the teachers just rolled their eyes and continued on their day and just stopped showing the movie. But for good reason, because the first half of this film, I think, is mostly enjoyable, especially when we get those World War I scenes. I think the choreography in there and the use of mustard gas, I think all of that looks great, and I think it's very entertaining scenery. And before we get to World War I, we have a couple of scenes where people are leaving and people are arriving and the music is swelling like crazy. We have a few epic returns, we have a few epic farewells, and it's building itself up to be, okay, this could be an Oscar contender, I think. But then after World War I and the tragedy happens, Tristan brings back bodies, and Tristan starts acting mopey. Brad Pitt starts puffing out his cheeks because he's just a little hurt puppy, and there's Susanna who's really hot, and he knows she's hot, and he just wants to be with her, and then the same thing goes around. Susanna's there like, oh, Tristan, it's fucking Brad Pitt with long blonde hair. Gosh, he looks hot, and I know I was engaged to his younger brother who just died. Spoiler alert, sorry. I couldn't fight that anymore. This film came out 30 years ago. Go easy on me. We know he died. But Samuel just died, and yes, I should be sad, but gosh darn it, you're Brad Pitt with long hair, and I just want to jump on ya. After that, we have several scenes where a character, specifically, most of the time, it's Tristan, leaves. He goes off on his own journey, he travels the world, and then he has an epic return, and then he leaves again, and then he comes back and marries the little Native American girl, and then he leaves and then comes back. We have so many people who are coming and going. It's not just him, it's every character. Everyone has this dramatic I'm leaving on horseback. And then they have the scene where they come back on horseback. And the music from James Horner, who is one of my favorite composers, is all throughout this film. Everything is just swelling and is epic and is just beautiful orchestral sounds, and someone just needed to tell this man, like, dude, you don't have to go so hard with this one. After the first half of this movie, after the war scenes, he's still continuing with all his beautiful compositions and his beautiful orchestral pieces. And it's like, okay, dude, all right, we're kind of depressed now with everything that's happening. You don't need to do all of this epic, beautiful orchestral shit. Yes, it's beautiful, it's wonderful. I think it belongs in another film, though, because this film is not living up to the epicness that this score is. You can tell that this film is trying to be Oscar bait. It's trying to lure you in. It's Legends of the Fall. It's about death and this character who is just so rugged and handsome. He's a character of the land. He goes out and goes into nature and loves nature and appreciates the Native American way. Trying to sucker you in to think that this is just one epic, dramatic, depressing piece. And yes, it's those things, But it's just too much of those things. In fact, all we get in this film are those depressing things. We rarely get the in-between to each pivotal moment in these characters' lives. Tristan comes back from World War I. He actually doesn't come back with his brother's dead body on his heart. He actually comes back like years later. And then he fucks around with Susanna, and they're gonna be together, and the older brother also has a boner for Susanna. It's not love, it's a boner, let's be honest. And then Tristan goes away again for like a decade this time. And so much happens in between, and we just kind of cut to where Tristan comes back. We hear him read a letter at one point, and that's supposed to bridge the gap. He comes back, and then so much has happened, but we are told what happened. We're not shown what's happened. That happens a lot in here, where we're told a lot of things, we're not shown a lot of things. Then we have another jump point after that, where Susanna actually goes off with the older brother and marries him. They can't have children. Tristan comes back again and marries the little Native American girl who always had a crush on him. They have kids together. Then there's a little moment with the older brother, and then we kind of skip forward again. It's almost like the screenwriters had bullet points, or they had the outline of all of the dramatic moments and all of the big, heartfelt, tugging at your heartstrings moments that's going to get people crying in the audience. They had outlines of that, but they never filled in the gaps. So the movie is just kind of dramatic moment, dramatic moment, dramatic moment, dramatic moment. There's nothing in between. But let's be honest, maybe it's all forgettable because Brad Pitt is in this movie with long blonde hair, and he is a man of the earth. He's a man of nature, and he goes around and appreciates nature. He rides horses. He takes care of horses. And if you know of any romantic or dramatic films in the 90s, if you had a hot guy playing around with horses on a ranch and a woman was watching, oh God, all hot and bothered. Legends of the Fall is a very, very depressing film that is very disappointing. I feel like it had the bones of being an Oscar contender or being this great dramatic piece, but it just became a story about a whole bunch of people coming and going, coming and going, coming, and then coming and going again, and then coming again. If you're gonna watch this movie, just watch it for the score. In fact, don't watch the movie, just listen to the score of James Horner. It's fantastic. He is a wonderful composer, by far, best part of the entire movie. I'm gonna give Legends of the Fall 2 out of 5 Blu-rays. So guys, if you've seen Legends of the Fall, what did you think about it? Or if you've never seen it before and you stumbled across because of this video, then comment below and let me know what you thought about it. And as always, if you like what you see here, if you like my take on movies, then hit the subscribe button and make sure you hit that bell. See you all the next time I'm releasing next movie review. So guys, I will see you next time on the channel, but in the meantime, be well, be good to each other, and go watch a movie. Take care, guys.